I'm so happy to see all of you. Welcome to the opening ceremony of the 2026 Model Constitutional Convention. I want to welcome all of you to Washington University in St. Louis, to the WashU Law School, and to St. Louis, our great city, the gateway to the West. And before I go on and talk about all the wonderful people who made this event possible, I want to say a word or two about St. Louis, based upon an anecdote that I learned about this morning. Yesterday, apparently there were some early arrivals, students, who went over to a very famous barbecue place here in St. Louis called Salt and Smoke. Some of you have heard of it. And those students were seated around a table talking about their amendments, apparently, or constitutional reform, or something equally esoteric. And some St. Louis neighbors were seated near them and overheard the conversation, came over to the table, and said how inspired they were by the civil and professional conversation that was taking place among the young people at the table, and that it gave them renewed hope in the future. And then they paid for the students' lunch. So I just want to say, I wanted to tell you that anecdote because that is St. Louis, and that is our great university in this great city, one of the most welcoming places, and we really do take Midwest nice seriously. So I hope you enjoy your time with us. I'm Steph Lindquist. I'm the Nickerson Dean and Professor of Law here at the WashU Law School, and I'm extremely pleased to open the 2026 Model Convention, which is our second nationwide student-led Model Constitutional Convention, the first having been hosted at Arizona State University in 2024. We are thrilled to welcome our student delegates, distinguished guests, faculty mentors, peer mentors, staff, and community members in the audience, all of whom have supported this important event, highlighting our historic Constitution and offering students the opportunity to propose and debate constitutional amendments. The 105 student delegates in this audience were selected from hundreds of applications from across the country. They hail from more than 75 educational institutions in the United States, from Maine to California, from Oregon to Florida, and just about every point in between. 42 are law students, 62 are undergraduate students from numerous disciplines, and one is a master's student. Their ages range from 18 to 50, and they all have one thing in common. They have demonstrated a commitment to our constitutional democracy and to our future. All of you are participating in this convention in an auspicious year, the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. It is an historic moment to celebrate the U.S. Constitution and to consider reforms to our Constitution for the next generation of Americans. Welcome to our student delegates. We're so happy that you're here. I also want to welcome our faculty and peer mentors who have helped the student delegates over the past months prepare their proposed amendments and who will support the students in their committees and throughout the convention to refine, debate, and ratify amendments to the U.S. Constitution. Most of our faculty mentors were present at the first Model Constitutional Convention in 2024. We thank them for their willingness and eagerness to return to the 2026 convention, which I think represents a tribute to their dedication to students, to higher education, and to our constitutional democracy. Thank you to our faculty mentors who are here. We are also thrilled to welcome 8 peer mentors who previously served as delegates in the 2024 convention and who are also eager to join us again this year. These peer mentors provide continuity across the conventions, and their willingness to join us this year, I hope, indicates how rewarding they found the first convention in 2024. Thank you, peer mentors, for your presence here. And finally, thank you to our distinguished guests and speakers for elevating the intellectual profile of this convention with your participation and learned remarks. I welcome Professors Peter Castor, Erwin Chemerinsky, Justin Weinstein-Toll, and Richard Albert, all of whom I will be interested in more detail later, either today or Friday or Saturday. We are thrilled that you are here to help us place this convention in historical and scholarly perspective. I also want to thank our nationally recognized parliamentarian, Al Gage, there he is, who, for his many contributions to the Model Convention's procedures and for his support to the students throughout their deliberations. Thank you, Al. Planning and executing an event of this magnitude truly does take a village. It also takes significant financial support. We thank our benefactor, John Storr, for his continuing dedication to the Model Constitutional Convention. In addition, the Frick Initiative here at WashU made a substantial gift to make this convention possible. Thank you to the Frick family and to Dean Russell Osgood and Izzy Azoulin for their efforts in connection with the Frick Grant. I also want to thank the many staff and faculty here at WashU whose tireless efforts are apparent all around us. Our marketing and communications team, led by Megan Spence, managed the logistical details, including food, swag, dorm and meeting rooms, videography, photography, and marketing materials. Thank you to Megan, David Ellington, Billy Gutierrez, and Andrea Crum. If all of you would just raise your hands, we'd like to thank you. Thank you so much. I think David Ellington was here last night until 10:30, and he'll probably be here tonight till 10:30 and probably on Saturday till 10:30, so we thank him for his efforts. Assistant Dean Angie Smith has ensured that the student experience here is as smooth and enjoyable as possible. Member of the Dean's Office handled the myriad details associated with participants' travel and the overall management of the convention. Thank you to Chris Ramsey, Elizabeth Miller, Olivia Smith, and Sue English. Our IT and AV teams enabled the Canvas site, which I hope you all enjoyed, and ensured that we had the necessary technology at hand. Thank you to Dan Chindrasa, Daryl Barker, Dylan Barker, Bill Matthews, and Aris Woodham. I also want to thank the team at ASU and Dean Stacy Leeds for their partnership in the first convention and for their continuing support to this year's convention. WashU's Chancellor Andrew Martin and Provost Mark West have also lent a shoulder to this wheel with their enthusiastic support. I also want to note that the names that I've called out here in terms of WashU staff, there are many others who are here from our admissions team, from our career services team, and the library and other organizations here at the law school. I want to thank all of them. Thank you to everyone who made this extraordinary event possible. Finally, I think we all know this. This convention would not have been possible without the energetic and thoughtful leadership of our convention director, the indomitable Netta Borshansky. Netta, you have dedicated your time, energy, and commitment to this convention for at least a year. We thank you for that. You are truly remarkable, truly. Well, lots and lots for you to think about there as you enter this important endeavor. I want to say, just in closing, a word about where this convention came from and why did we start this convention in 2024. And I will tell you that at that time I was employed at Arizona State University, and I happened to own a farm in Pennsylvania, and I was sitting on that farm. It was built in the late 1700s. And it's around the corner from the hospital where George Washington sent soldiers from Valley Forge who were injured there, and about 45 minutes from Independence Hall. And at that time, I was the inaugural director of a Center for Constitutional Design at ASU, and was thinking about what that center could do to make a difference for young people, for this country, for the future. And I also was thinking about a particular college student. So I used to teach at the University of Texas Law School. We have Richard Albert with us here, who represents that law school, and I know some of you are from there. And I was thinking about a particular student there named Greg Watson, and some of you know this story. But Greg Watson in 1982 wrote a paper in his undergraduate political science class where he noted that an amendment that was originally part of the Bill of Rights and written by Madison had been sent out for ratification to the states, but had actually never been fully ratified by the required number of states. And so he wrote a paper, brought to the attention of his political science professor the significance of this, and that indeed it was possible that the particular amendment could be ratified even today in the late 20th century. And as we all know, those of you who know this story, he received a C on this paper. And I'll tell you how that came out at the end in a second, but he received a C on the paper, but he was not in any way cowed by that grade, and he decided this amendment was worthy of ratification, so he went forward to have it ratified, going to the various state legislatures to convince them to ratify the amendment, and that was the 27th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, which was ultimately ratified in 1992. And for those of you who know the terms of that amendment, it prohibits any member of Congress, prohibits Congress from authorizing a pay raise to members of Congress that take effect any time before the next Congress. So they cannot vote themselves an immediate pay raise. It seems like a good amendment. Surprising it wasn't ratified back in 1791. In any event, Greg Watson still works for the Texas State Legislature, as I understand it. And the power of his story is that college students, young people, have agency in our democracy to make a difference. And he, one individual with a C on his paper, nevertheless went forward and made a difference to the U.S. Constitution. And so the last amendment to the U.S. Constitution, the 27th Amendment, was due to a college student's efforts. And we have not had an amendment since then, notwithstanding the Equal Rights Amendment, which Erwin referred to. And so it is high time that we do something about that if we think that the Constitution needs amending. Now, I'll tell you the final story about Greg Watson. My colleague, Zach, my former colleague in political science at Texas, Zach Elkins, decided that it was an injustice that Greg Watson's paper remained a C paper in perpetuity. And therefore, he instituted a change through the College of Arts and Sciences at Texas, at University of Texas, to change the grade on that paper to an A. And from what I understand from him, and perhaps Richard could tell us more detail, but from what I understand from Zach, there was a ceremony in which Greg Watson received the rightful A to his paper, given what he did with that knowledge. And so I hope that story inspires you. It certainly inspired me in combination with sitting around the corner from a hospital where soldiers in the Revolutionary War died in a place called Yellow Springs. And if you ever have a chance to visit that historic site, I recommend it, and of course Valley Forge as well. So I am just thrilled that you are all here. I hope that story inspires you. I want to thank Dean Chemerinsky and Professor Castor once more for kicking us off in such a beautiful way. And again, good luck to all of you as you debate your proposed amendments. Thanks again. See you.